Yo, so I was just telling you before we started recording, people think hotel security is just kicking out drunk tourists and finding lost room keys. But you were saying something about how resorts attract a whole different type of problem, right? Like some real dark shit goes down.
Yeah, man. Luxury resorts especially. You got money, privacy, and people who don't ask questions. That's literally a recipe for some dark shit. I mean, when you're charging $8,000 a night for a penthouse suite, nobody's questioning what happens behind those doors, you feel me?
$8,000 a night? Damn, that's more than most people make in a month working regular jobs. That's crazy money right there.
Exactly, and that kind of money attracts a certain type of clientele. Not all bad, but the bad ones, they're real bad.
This is the protection perspective. What you're about to hear is what happens when paradise becomes a hunting ground for real predators. Chris Lee thought he was managing security at a 5-star resort, dealing with normal hospitality stuff. He had no idea he was working for something much darker.
I'm standing in this penthouse suite, $8,000 a night, and there's a dead girl in the bathtub just laying there like she's nothing. She's got track marks on her arms, but her purse has a fake ID and $30,000 in cash rubber banded together like drug money. That's when I knew I wasn't working for the hotel anymore. I was working for whoever owned them, whoever was running this whole operation.
Hold up, we gotta back this up for a second because that's a hell of an opening right there, Chris. So let's start from the beginning. How does a guy end up running security for a luxury resort in the first place? You came from military background, right? What made you think hospitality was the move after all that intense MP work overseas?
Yeah, so I did 8 years as an MP, military police, saw some heavy stuff overseas that I don't really talk about much anymore. When I got out, I wanted something low-key, you know? Something where I could use my skills but not be dodging bullets every day.
Right, so you're looking for that transition job that still pays decent but doesn't have the combat zone stress attached to it.
Exactly, and resort security seemed perfect on paper. Good pay, beautiful location, no war zones, just dealing with tourists and petty theft. I started at the Ocean View Resort in South Florida, 500 rooms, private beach, infinity pools, the whole luxury package deal you see in magazines.
South Florida, okay. So you're in Miami area? Because that's a whole different beast down there with the money that flows through.
Just north of Miami, close enough to get all that international money, but far enough to have some privacy for the real high-end clients. First week, I'm thinking this is paradise, right? I'm watching sunsets over the ocean, dealing with noise complaints, helping drunk people find their rooms.
Yeah, that sounds like easy money compared to what you were dealing with in the military. Just babysitting rich people on vacation, basically.
That's what I thought. But then I noticed the pattern. Certain suites, always booked, always cash payments, always different names on the reservations. Penthouse 1 through 4, never empty, like ever. But you'd never see the same person twice, never the same name on the check-in sheet.
Okay, so that's already suspicious right there. How long before you started asking questions about who's actually staying in those penthouses every night?
My boss, the GM, he'd personally handle those check-ins himself, told me and my team to stay away from those floors unless specifically called up there. And I should have known right then something was off, but the money was good and I didn't want to see it, you know?
Yeah, I get that. Sometimes when you need the paycheck, you convince yourself not to look too close at the red flags waving. But eventually something had to make you start connecting the dots though, right? Like what finally made you start asking real questions about it?
About 3 months in, we start getting these special guests. Always young women, always escorted by older men in expensive suits and watches. They'd come through the private entrance, never the main lobby where other guests check in. We had cameras there, but they were always conveniently malfunctioning.
Oh, so the cameras just happen to be broken every time these specific people show up. That's not suspicious at all, right?
Right. And I'm the security manager, so I'm supposed to fix that stuff, but every time I'd report it, nothing would get done. One night, I'm doing rounds, 2 in the morning, and I see this girl, couldn't be more than 19, trying to leave through the service exit.
The service exit? So she's not even trying to go out the front door, she's sneaking out the back like she's running from something.
Exactly, and she's crying, barefoot, wearing just a hotel robe. I ask if she's okay, and this guy appears out of nowhere like a ghost. Expensive suit, dead eyes. You know that look when someone's killed before? You can feel it in your gut, that energy they give off.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That predator energy, like they're deciding right then if you're a threat or not, sizing you up.
He puts his hand on my shoulder, real friendly-like, and says, "She's fine, just had too much to drink, celebrating her birthday tonight." But she's looking at me like she's drowning, and I'm the only one who can see her, like I'm her last chance to get help.
Damn, so what did you do? Because that's a tough spot. You know something's wrong, but this guy is clearly dangerous as hell.
He walks her back inside, and I let it happen, Jay. I told myself it's not my business. She's probably just drunk. But I knew. Deep down, I knew she wasn't drunk. She was terrified. And I let him take her back inside anyway because I was scared.
Man, that's heavy. But you can't beat yourself up too much. That guy was clearly connected to something bigger than just one girl. So what happened after that? Did your boss find out you even talked to them, or did they report it up the chain?
Next day, my boss calls me into his office. Says I'm doing great work, but I need to understand some guests value privacy above everything else. He slides an envelope across the desk to me. $5,000 in hundreds, crisp new bills. Says it's a bonus for my discretion and professionalism.
$5,000 just for not asking questions? That's when you know you're in some real criminal shit right there, bro.
I took the money, Jay. I fucking took it. Walked out of there with $5,000 and convinced myself I earned it for doing my job.
I mean, $5,000 is $5,000 though. Most people would take that money too, especially if they're trying to pay bills and survive.
Yeah, but after that, it's like the blinders come off. Once you take that first payment, you start seeing everything you were ignoring before. I start noticing the late night deliveries to the kitchen that aren't food. Guys in unmarked vans pulling up at 3, 4 in the morning.
What kind of deliveries we talking about? Like you could see what they were bringing in, or was it all covered up, hidden in boxes?
Covered up, but heavy. Like, really heavy. The way 2 guys would struggle with a single crate, and they'd go straight to the penthouses, never the kitchen. Then there's the maintenance workers who show up in Escalades wearing Rolexes, carrying toolboxes that clearly don't have tools in them based on how they handle them.
Yeah, ain't no real maintenance worker pulling up in an Escalade with a Rolex on. That's not how that works in the real world.
And the private poker games in the conference rooms where the chips are worth $10,000 each, minimum buy-in was $100,000.
Hold up, $10,000 chips? So these aren't regular high-stakes games? This is like cartel-level money moving around in there.
Exactly, and I'm supposed to provide security for these games, but I'm not allowed to know who's playing or watch the actual games themselves. One of my guys, Rodriguez, he's been there longer than me, worked there like 5 years. I pull him aside and ask him what's really going on.
So Rodriguez knows the deal already. What did he tell you when you asked him about all the suspicious activity happening every night?
He looks at me like I'm already dead and says, "You seem like a smart guy. Smart guys don't ask questions around here." Then he says, "Smart guys cash their checks and go home to their families. Dumb guys ask questions and end up in the ocean."
Damn, so he's basically telling you straight up that people have died for asking too many questions about what happens at this resort.
Right, and I took that as a warning. For the next few weeks, I just did my job, took my pay, didn't ask questions. But I couldn't stop noticing things, you know? Once you see it, you can't unsee it. The girls coming and going, always different ones.
Yeah, that's the thing about being in security. You're trained to notice patterns, and once you see them, they're everywhere you look. So you're sitting on all this knowledge, trying to ignore it, just collecting your paycheck. But something had to break eventually, right?
It was a Thursday night, middle of summer, beautiful weather. We're at about 80% capacity. Everything running smooth, normal night on the surface. I get a call from housekeeping around 11 p.m. Penthouse 3 requested late turn-down service, but no one's answering the door when they knock.
Okay, so that's not necessarily weird yet. Could be they're sleeping, could be they're in the shower, could be 100 different things.
Right. But hotel policy says we don't enter those penthouse suites without GM approval, and he's not answering his phone at all. Something feels wrong though, like my gut is telling me this isn't normal, so I grab my master key and head up with Maria from housekeeping.
Your instincts kicking in from all those years in the military, that feeling when something's about to go sideways on you, right?
Exactly that feeling, and when we get to the door, I can smell it. Underneath the expensive candles and air freshener, there's something else. The suite is immaculate when we walk in. Champagne on ice, untouched room service on the table, everything perfectly arranged like a photo shoot.
Too perfect, like it's staged. That's usually a bad sign when a hotel room looks like nobody's actually been living in it.
Maria won't go in the bedroom. She just backs away from the door and leaves, doesn't say a word, just shakes her head and walks out. Women know before men do, you know? They can sense danger in a way we can't. I should have followed her out right then.
Yeah, when a woman gets that feeling and leaves, you should probably listen to that and get out too, but you went in anyway.
I find her in the bathroom. Young girl, maybe 22, in the bathtub. At first I think she drowned, but there's no water in it. She's positioned weird, too perfect, like someone arranged her body after she died, and her eyes are open, just staring at nothing, completely empty.
Man, that's nightmare fuel right there. So you know immediately this isn't natural causes, someone definitely killed this girl and staged it.
There's a purse on the counter. Fake ID says she's Sarah Johnson from Ohio, 21 years old, but it's obviously not her real identity. And there's $30,000 in cash rubber banded together in her purse. Brand new $100 bills, still in bank wrappers from different banks.
30 grand in cash? What 21-year-old from Ohio is walking around with that kind of money unless something illegal is happening?
And a phone. Burner probably, but it's still on. I know I shouldn't touch it, but I can't help myself. I have to know. Last text message says, package delivered to room 3. Client refused delivery, dispose and credit account. That's it. Just cold business transaction language.
Package. They called this girl a package like she's a piece of furniture or something, not a human being with a life and family.
I'm standing there and I know, if I call the cops, I'm dead. If I call my boss, I'm complicit in whatever this is. If I walk away and pretend I never saw this, I'm a coward and she becomes just another missing person that nobody cares about.
That's the ultimate no-win situation right there. Every choice you make in that moment has serious consequences, possibly deadly ones for you. So what did you do? Because you had to make a decision right then. You couldn't just stand there forever staring at this scene.
I call my boss. He answers on the first ring like he was waiting by the phone, expecting this call to come in eventually. I tell him what I found, and there's just silence on the other end for like 10 seconds. Feels like forever when you're standing next to a body.
That silence tells you everything you need to know. He's not surprised. He's just calculating what to do about you knowing about it now.
Then he says, real calm, stay there. Don't touch anything else. Don't call anyone. I'm sending someone to handle this situation professionally. 20 minutes later, 3 guys show up I've never seen before. Not cops, not EMTs, not hotel staff. They're wearing suits and latex gloves already on.
So they came prepared, they knew exactly what they were walking into before they even got there. This is their routine, they've done this before.
One of them, the leader, he looks at me and says, "You're Chris, right? The new security manager who used to be military police?" I nod and he continues. "This is unfortunate. The girl had a bad reaction to the product we provided. These things happen in this business."
Product, not drugs, not even calling her a person. Just product like she's a defective item they need to return to the warehouse.
He pulls out a briefcase from under his arm, opens it on the bed. Has to be $100,000 inside, maybe more, all hundreds. "Your discretion is worth a lot to us, Chris. Take this and forget you were here tonight. Go home, sleep well, wake up tomorrow rich."
$100,000 to stay quiet about a murder. That's life-changing money for most people, enough to make them forget what they saw. But you're standing there looking at this dead girl who was somebody's daughter, and you gotta decide what kind of man you are, right?
I'm looking at this dead girl with her eyes still open, and I'm looking at more money than I've ever seen in my life. And I realize this is the moment. This is the moment where I become one of them or I become a target. There's no middle ground.
So what did you tell him? Because I'm guessing you didn't just take the money and walk away, or we wouldn't be having this conversation.
I tell him I need to think about it, need some time to process everything I just saw and make the right decision for myself. He smiles, but it's not friendly at all. It's the smile of a shark before it bites. "You have until tomorrow noon. Choose wisely, Chris." People who choose poorly tend to have accidents, fall down stairs, drive off bridges, disappear while swimming. Very tragic, very unfortunate accidents.
Damn, so he's making it crystal clear. Take the money and stay quiet, or end up like that girl in the bathtub.
They take the body, clean the entire room like nothing ever happened, use professional cleaning supplies that erase DNA and everything. Whole thing takes 45 minutes. I go home that night and I can't sleep at all. I keep seeing her eyes, keep thinking about that text. "Client refused delivery."
Yeah, that would haunt anybody with a conscience. She was being sold like merchandise, and when the buyer didn't want her, they just killed her.
And when the buyer didn't want her, they killed her, like she was defective merchandise, like she had no value as a human being at all. I'm sitting in my apartment at 4 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, and I know I can't take that money. I just can't do it.
So you made your decision, but calling local cops is probably out because they're likely on the payroll too, right? So who did you call?
I called the FBI at 6 in the morning. Not local cops. I knew they were probably paid off. Federal agents, human trafficking task force specifically. I told them everything. The suites, the girls, the money, the body, the text message, the cleanup crew, all of it in one long confession.
How did they react when you told them all this? Because that's a wild story to drop on federal agents first thing in the morning.
They believed me immediately, which told me they probably already had the resort on their radar for something, but didn't have enough evidence yet. They told me to act normal, keep working, help them build a case from the inside. They'd protect me, but I had to play along.
So now you got to go back to work and pretend like you're considering taking that $100,000 while actually working with the feds. That's insane pressure, bro. One wrong move, one wrong look, and they know you flipped on them and you're dead immediately.
For 2 weeks, I'm wearing a wire every single day, documenting everything. Every delivery, every special guest, every cash payment that comes through. I'm recording conversations, taking photos of license plates, noting times and dates of suspicious activity, building the case piece by piece while terrified the whole time.
Man, I don't know if I could do that. Walking around every day knowing if they find that wire on you, you're done.
The organization, they're getting suspicious though. My boss starts asking me weird questions, testing me, trying to catch me in lies about small stuff. Hey Chris, remember that delivery last Tuesday? What time did that happen? And I gotta remember exactly what I told him before. Stay consistent with my story.
They're looking for any inconsistency, any sign that you're not really on their team. That's how they flush out informants and undercovers.
Then one night, I get called to Penthouse 1. Just me, no backup, no other security. My boss says the guest needs to speak with me personally. I know it's a setup. Every instinct I have is screaming, don't go up there, but if I refuse, they'll know for sure I flipped.
Damn, that's a bad situation. You gotta walk into what you know is a trap or blow your cover and probably get killed anyway.
I text the FBI handler, tell him what's happening, then I go up there. The FBI says they're moving into position, but I gotta stall. I walk into Penthouse 1 and there's 4 guys waiting for me. The same guy from before with the briefcase, plus 3 muscle guys with guns.
Oh shit, so they're not even pretending anymore? They got guns out already, they know you're the leak and they're about to handle it.
The leader says, Chris, we have a problem. Someone's been talking to people they shouldn't talk to. Federal people. You know anything about that? I play dumb, say I don't know what he means. Maybe someone on the staff saw something and reported it anonymously or whatever.
You're trying to buy time, hoping the FBI gets there before these guys decide to just shoot you and dump your body somewhere.
He pulls out a tablet, shows me surveillance footage of me meeting with the FBI in a parking garage 2 days earlier, clear as day. They had someone following me the whole time I thought I was being careful. I was made from day one, they were just waiting to see what I'd do.
So they knew the whole time you were working with the feds, and they let you keep going, probably feeding you false information or setting you up.
He pulls out a gun, a .45, puts it on the table between us, says, "We invested a lot of money in you, Chris. We don't like bad investments. We don't like people who betray our trust. You understand what happens to bad investments in our business?"
Yeah, they end up in bathtubs or in the ocean, so you're sitting there staring at this gun knowing you got maybe seconds before they use it.
That's when the doors explode. FBI, ATF, local SWAT. They'd been in position the whole time, listening through my wire, waiting for the right moment. Gunfire, flashbangs, absolute chaos. I hit the floor, can't see anything, can't hear anything, just smoke and yelling and automatic weapons going off. One of the muscle guys tries to grab me as a hostage, gets his hand on my collar, and takes a round to the shoulder from a sniper outside.
What would you tell someone who's in a similar situation right now, who's seeing red flags but scared to report it because of the money or the danger?
I'd tell them that envelope full of cash, that bonus for discretion, it comes with a price that's way higher than the dollar amount. You take that money, you become part of it. You can't unsee what you've seen, you can't unknow what you know about what's happening.
Right, and eventually you gotta look at yourself in the mirror and deal with the fact that you helped evil people do evil things for money.
The nightmares don't go away, the guilt doesn't fade. I still see that girl's face every time I close my eyes, even though I eventually did the right thing.